Good morning. We're so glad you're here with us today, here at Unity of Charlotte. Welcome to Unity of Charlotte, where our mission is to nurture a deep and mature experience of Unity principles. Simply put, we are to grow, to love, to grow, and to serve. My name is Reverend Sally Robbins, and I will be your minister of service today. I'm so glad you chose to join us either via live stream or if you're watching us on YouTube. We're glad you're with us. So let's start today's service by sharing our statement of oneness, which you'll see on the slide here. There it goes. Okay. There is one presence and one power in my life and universe, God the good, omnipotent. I'm going to make sure this is on. Well, we'll see. All right. Okay, let's move to our next one. Yes, yay. So I will open us up with a centering prayer. I invite you, if you are comfortable, just sit in your chair, legs uncrossed, feet flat on the floor. And if you feel comfortable, close your eyes. Feel your breath going in and out. And just breathe. This might be the first moment you've had all day to just breathe. Move into that place, that sacred, holy place within you that never changes, that's never in chaos, that never knows fear, that never is in doubt. That center point within you that knows all, sees all, and is all. For it is in this place that we can turn to any moment of any day and know the truth of who we are, that we are indeed a light so bright that we broadcast to the world all of the wonderful God qualities of love and kindness and compassion and caring and beauty and power, wisdom. Oh, what a beautiful place to be. It is from this place that I know the absoluteness of who I am and who you are and whose you are. That this is a powerful moment, a moment of choice, a moment of clarity, a moment of your selection to be here as a radiant light in this world. And so I know that we are coming together this morning, whether we're across the miles, we might not even be in the same room, and yet where two or more are gathered, there is the great I am. So that great I am is that place where we all join. There is nothing separating me from you and you from me. We are all one. And so in this oneness, we celebrate the truth of who you are, of who I am, of who everyone in our world is, the beloved, in whom God is well pleased. What a beautiful place to reside. And so I know with certainty that all is indeed unfolding for all of our highest good this morning. That our hearts are being prepared right now, opening to receive that special nugget of wisdom that will guide our way through today and forever. I know that we are open and receptive to Spirit's words, whether it comes through music, whether it comes through the spoken word, whether it even just comes as a feeling. That feeling tone of knowing that we are one. And so I just give great thanks for the opportunity to come together in that oneness this morning, to know the truth about each other, that there is no separation, only the one. We can certainly rest in this, that God is on the scene, and that we are forevermore guided as light bearers in this world by that inner center point that is the truth of who we are. I give great thanks for this knowledge and for the opportunity to know who I am. And with gratitude, I just say thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit, for all that is and all that is yet to be. I am forever grateful. I let it be so. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. All right, so we have our May affirmation. Let's say that together, if you can see it on the screen here. With God as my guide, I am destined to thrive. Alone, I may seem powerless and lacking, but united with my Creator, my potential is limitless. I welcome divine mind into my mind and know, with God as my guide, I am destined to thrive. That indeed is our topic this month, thriving. And so we here at Unity of Charlotte are grateful for the opportunity for each of us to continue to support this wonderful ministry, even in our possibility of oneness. we get to operate knowing that we can still support this vital ministry. We want to thank you for joining us online. Thank you for giving your Sunday morning to us and for just being with us in knowing the truth of who you are. We invite you to subscribe to our talks and to like the Unity of Charlotte YouTube. That's a great place that will allow you then to get notifications when we've uploaded our next video. We upload a new one every single week, so you can always see the latest and greatest. And there's a ton of material on there. If you've missed 1 week, you can go back and watch something that you missed, or maybe something that before you even got here a year ago. There's wonderful material there on the YouTube channel. So we invite you, when you're having a moment, you just need to remember who you are. That's a great place to go. We look forward to seeing you live and in person in the near future. During normal Sundays, when we get back to whatever normal is here in North Carolina, we have a great program for children and teens that meets the same time as this service. So plan to bring your kids and your grandkids. And if you or anyone you know is in need of prayer, this is a time when I have a lot of people who are telling me how difficult they're experiencing life right now, because we're all in something that we've never, ever had the opportunity to experience before. If you find yourself in that place and are needing some support, or even just helping you anchor into the truth of your spiritual oneness, we invite you to go onto the website, and there's a prayer that says, click here for prayer, and it goes into our confidential email box and distributed to our prayer team. We'll be happy to pray for you. So please take advantage of that opportunity for us to know the truth for you. You can also, if you want a live person, you can call Silent Unity, which has been around for well over 100 years. It's been around since before 1900. And if you have an opportunity to talk to someone there, all you have to do is call 1-800-NOW-PRAY, that's NOWPRAY, and contact them, and someone will pray with you live. And it's a wonderful resource for us, again, during this time of need. The only announcement I have is that we are still putting together the results of the survey. So thank you for all of you who participated in that. We sent a survey out in the newsletter because we wanted to find out where people were about their willingness to come back, their confidence in coming back, because we've heard both sides, and we want to make sure that we're providing a safe and secure place for you when you do come back. So your feedback is really important. We'll be distributing that information very soon as we gather the results of that survey for you. And we are very clear that we will be doing this within the guidelines that North Carolina sets, which is making sure that, again, everyone is safe within our community. So your safety is our utmost concern. So let us know if you have concerns or anything like that. We'd like to know. All right. I think that's all for our announcements. I have a wonderful treat for you. One of my favorite songs in the entire world is called A Light in This World. And it's done by Reverend Donna Michael, who's a dear friend of mine. She's in the Nashville area. And this song has been something that I have used over the years again and again. It's a rallying cry for those of us who sometimes feel like we're in the darkness. So we're going to be playing that song for you right now before I go into my talk. So here it is. We are one, we are one, we are one this world, and we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright, and we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. We are light, we are light, we are light this world. We are light, we are light, we are light this world. And we shine, we shine, we shine, we shine, we shine so bright. And we shine, we shine, we shine, we shine, we shine so bright. We shine, 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 we shine. I want to thank Reverend Donna for giving consent for us to have that video as a part of our service this morning. And the actual name of that, if you'd like to watch it again, you can go onto YouTube. It's A Light in This World is the actual name of it. Reverend Donna Michael. She is a fabulous minister and musician in her own right. You'll find her website at donnamichael.com. So thank you, Reverend Donna, for allowing us to include that today, because it's the perfect segue into my talk this morning. My talk is You Are the Light. You are the light. So that is my talk. I want to start, you know me in stories. I love to share stories. The story that I want to share this morning to start off with actually happened around 1988, somewhere in that late 80s. I was living in Chicago at the time. I was an event planner working for an event planning company, and we had just finished a large event for a corporation in the suburb of Chicago, the western suburbs. So I was at a hotel, and we finished like 2 in the morning, and I got in my car and was beginning to drive home. It was probably a 40-minute ride home. It was bitter cold that night. I'm talking well below freezing, maybe around 0. It was one of those colds that it's so cold it won't snow. It was really cold. So I had on my coat. I was dressed in a suit, a skirt and a jacket with heels, and which would have been fine because I knew all I was doing was from the hotel into the car, drive home. Within a half a mile of me leaving the hotel, as I was literally pulling onto the ramp of the interstate to take me home, all the lights on my dashboard went out. It was like my power steering was gone. The car just ceased to function. I was at a loss, and I had just turned onto the ramp, and cars were still going by me. If you live in Chicago, there's plenty of cars still at night. And so cars were going by me and even honking at me because I'd slowed down. I had lost acceleration, everything. So I'm like, what do I do? I get out of the car because it literally stopped in the middle of this ramp, and I had to get it over to the side of the road. I tried to get it as much as I could without the power steering, but I was still about halfway into the lane, and cars were going by me. I get out in my heels. I'm pushing my car to the side of the road. And it was freezing. Now I'm starting to get really scared because nobody's stopping. They're just going right on by. And they see me out there pushing this car. And I'm thinking to myself, what am I going to do? This was long before the days of cell phones, long before the days of, onboard, OnStar, things like that would help you. And I'm thinking, okay, I could walk back to the hotel, but that's going to be a long, cold walk. And as I'm considering my options, I finally get the car over to the side of the road, and I'm like at least out of traffic. A very nice car pulls in front of me. It was like a Lincoln or something like that. And a gentleman steps out, and he says, "You look like you could use some help." And I said, "Oh, yeah." Now I'm sizing him up in my mind. Is this an ex-murderer? You know how you have to, like, that fear will come up? And he was so kind and so nice. I didn't get any vibe like that from him at all. And so he made sure that my car was safely off, and he said, "Well, let me give you a ride home." And I said, "Well, what direction are you headed?" He was going somewhere way south, and I was headed back into the city. His home was way out of the way. And I said, "That's like 45 minutes out of the way for you, one way." And then he had to go home. He goes, "That's okay." He said, "I want to make sure you get home safely." I said, "Wow, thank you. That I would greatly appreciate that." So I get into his very warm car. I distinctly remember how warm his car was when I sat in that passenger seat. It was so nice to be in the warmth of a car. And he drove me home, and we chatted on the way home. Very kind man. And during the course of that ride home, he said to me, "About a month ago, my wife had a similar situation. Her car broke down on a bridge, like right in the middle of rush hour traffic, and she was trying to get the car to safety, and she didn't know what to do, and somebody very kindly stopped and helped her." And he said, "I never knew who it was that stopped her and helped her, but I knew that I was going to pay that forward. I was so grateful that someone had stopped and helped my wife. And here you show up." So he takes me home, drops me off. I got his business card and sent him a very nice thank you note the next day. I've never forgotten that man. I couldn't tell you his name today, but I've never forgotten the man. I remember how he looked. I remember how warm his car was, and I remember the kindness that he showed. And I too felt like this was an opportunity for me to pay it forward. This was a chance for me to really get clear about what my role was in this world. It's not about me. It's how many others can I help along the way? And that's the point of my talk this morning. You are the light. It's not about how much we get in this life. It's how much we give. It's how much we can serve, how much we can absolutely put back into the world in the form of compassion and caring. Because that man, all those years ago, modeled to me what it was like to go out of his way. He didn't have to do that, but he did. He was a light. He was a light that showed up at 2 a.m. on a cold Chicago day and made a difference in my world. I hope I've been able to do that for others. And so I'd like us to set that intention today. How can I be a light in this world? How can I pay it forward, knowing that there is no act of kindness that goes wasted? Love is never wasted, ever, even if it's not acknowledged, even if it's not ever given back. Who cares? You have done your part in being a light of love and compassion and caring. I love the scripture in Matthew that talks about that. Matthew 5:14-16 says, "You are indeed the light of the world. A city that is built upon a mountain cannot be hidden, nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, so that it gives light to all who are in the house. Let your light so shine." How many times have I been in that place where I have hidden my light under a bushel or a lampstand? I have not allowed that light to fully embrace the opportunities that have been given to me. And I don't ever want that to be the case. I do want to be the light of the world, because I am the vehicle through which God is loving this world. I am the mouthpiece. I am the hands and feet of God in everything that I do. I don't ever want a wasted opportunity to go by me. This is a lot harder to do than it is to say. A lot harder, because there are times when I'm tired. There are times when I don't feel like doing it. And yet, that's the only mission that I have here to complete, is to be the light that I am. You know, in that scripture, Jesus doesn't say, you should be a light, or it would be nice if you burned a little brighter. He doesn't say that. Or I hope you'll be a light. He says you are a light. So whether you know it or not, it's there. That is the truth of who you are. How you choose to express it is up to you. I know a lot of people who have forgotten that they're lights. They've totally forgotten. And they've covered that light up. That doesn't mean that they're not lights anymore. They've simply covered it up, like put it under the bushel, where they're pretty dim in terms of wattage out in the world, because they've simply forgotten who they are. And yet the scriptures remind us, you don't have a choice. You are a light. That is who you are. And I want to make sure that I enable that as often as possible, that when my light gets dusty and dim, that I shine it up, that I actually move to a place of a deeper understanding of how I'm dimming my light. That's the inner work here that we get to do. Your true calling, it has nothing to do with your vocation. Your true calling is to be a light in this world. And like I said before, you get to choose how that is. It's your choice. And it's so easy to forget this, isn't it? It is so easy to forget. One of my favorite quotes of all time comes from, you've seen this before. It's so wonderful to bear repeating here. From Marianne Williamson's book, A Return to Love. She says this: our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? She goes on, you are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. How many of us have been guilty of that? She says we are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. And finally, she says, it's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. Jesus didn't say it's in some of you. Jesus said you are a light, meaning you collectively, all of us. She says, and as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. So when I shine, I'm actually unconsciously giving you permission to shine too. See, my light doesn't take away from your light. My light doesn't make you any darker. My light actually emboldens you to be a light with me. So I do a disservice to the world when I am not creating the light to be as brilliant as possible. And yet I have found myself over the years sometimes playing small. Are you with me? Do you resonate with that? Some of us feel uncomfortable, which is exactly what Marianne Williamson is talking about. We feel comfortable with sharing our light because it makes us stand out somehow, or whatever thoughts we have in our twisted minds. It has nothing to do with the truth. My playing small doesn't serve this world. And so this is where we get to walk our talk. Am I really here to be the light that is my true calling? Am I really moving in that direction and not allowing either people talking, who does she think she is, or the world telling us not to shine so brightly? I remember my grandmother saying to me, "And just who do you think you are, Missy?" And I was shining a little too brightly that day. I wasn't doing anything naughty, but I remember very succinctly, I was told, "You don't play big. You've got to dim that light a little bit." And I did for many years because my grandmother was someone that I loved and cared about. And she didn't realize that she was dimming my light yet. "Who do you think you are, Missy?" was something that I had to live with. That voice was in the back of my head for years. Now, if she said that to me, I'd say, "I am the light of the world. That's who I am." And so I am trying to internalize these wonderful scriptures. These wonderful ideas are great. And we can say them all day long. But can I internalize them and model them? Like that gentleman did in Chicago. He didn't have to say word one to me. He just did it. He showed up and he did it. See, your light is unique. There's no one else that shines like you do. Your gifts are so representative of you and only you. And if you don't share those, the world's at a loss because of that. I can't shine like you, and you can't shine like me. It's incumbent upon us to shine, because as I shine, it's the way that only Sally shines. You shine your own way. And it's a beautiful, beautiful radiant light. The Course in Miracles compares us to sunbeams. We think we're separate from the sun. Just like there's a sunbeam that goes, "Hey, I'm it, I'm the light." But really, the sunbeam is simply representative of the source, the sun itself. We're individuations of God. We're not separate from that source. And we can never separate ourselves from that. We can deny it, we can tamper it down, we can dim it, but nothing can separate us from that source of who we are. We can even forget about it. We can forget who we are. We can identify ourselves as a small separate self, but the truth is always there. It's always there. You know, if I walked out on an overcast day and I said to my friend next to me, "What color is the sky?" And if they said gray because it's overcast, that's not the truth. Because the truth is it's always blue. It's just some clouds in front of it. There's a representation of a cloud in front of the truth that's the blue sky. So you have the light always there. You might have something in front of it that gives it an overcast look, that dims it, but the truth is our source is always radiant, shining, brilliant. And it's up to us to reflect that. You are a light in the darkness also. Not in spite of the darkness, but because of the darkness. And we have decided to incarnate in this world that has both light and dark. It's a world of contrast. That's just what we showed up for. That's our contract, to be in a world of contrast. And yet you are called to be the light because the world needs your light. It is that very essence of who you are that helps you show up. Alan Cohen, in his wonderful book, The Dragon Doesn't Live Here Anymore, writes, "The awareness of God is useless unless it is put into action in the affairs of daily life." Martin Luther King Jr. said, "I had been to the mountaintop and seen the promised land," and he chose to return. He came back to march. Indeed, we can march effectively only when we have been to the mountaintop, to the high perspective from which we see how divinely our work and our world could work, and then return to bring that vision into our own personal expression. Does that make sense? We have to go to the mountaintop, but then we come back to march. We come back to do the work. We come back to be a light in the darkness, not in spite of, but because that is what our calling is. That's the work that we're here to do. There is nothing more important in our world. than to do the inner work so that we never, ever falter in shining that light. That is what I really want us to know, especially this time in our world of COVID-19. There's a lot of chaos and confusion and doubt and you name it, fear is out there running rampant. If ever the world needed our light, it's now. And so I call upon you, trust that your light is absolutely what the world needs, and that no one and no thing can separate you from that light, so be it to the very best of your ability. So how do we shine our light during these dark times? I got to tell you, I have asked myself that question over the past several weeks. I am so done with quarantining. I'm really done. I'm done with Zoom, but that's just the way it is. That's the world as we know it right now. And I know that my light is not impacted by the fact that I can't be physically with people that I care about and love. I'm still a light, but how do we handle this? How do we handle this during these times of fear? I found a wonderful story in Mark Nepo's book, The Endless Practice. The subtitle of the book is Becoming Who You Were Born to Be. Does that sound familiar? Mark Nepo is one of my favorite writers. And he says this. He's actually talking about the story of Aladdin and his lamp. A timeless story from the Middle East that has been handed down from generation to generation. And he says the story takes place in China, which I wasn't aware of, but that's where the story starts. And it begins with Aladdin struggling in poverty when a sorcerer from Northern Africa takes him under his wing. While feigning kindness, the sorcerer uses Aladdin to fetch a magical lamp that is hidden in a cave. The lamp is home for a powerful genie that will serve whoever rubs and caresses and cares for the lamp. A trouble-laden journey unravels to possess the lamp, so the owner can have access to the powerful genie. But like so many anonymous tales told and retold throughout the centuries, the unconscious lesson, and I really want you to hear this, is that we are the lamp, and the powerful genie lives inside of each of us. Despite all the travails and misbegotten adventures, no one can possess the lamp or trick the genie. Only the authentic care of our deeper being can bring forth the abiding spirit that lives within us. We sometimes think that we have to move things in our world to make our world happen. And yet the truth is that everything, and I mean everything in our world, is unfolding for our highest good. And I have to trust that COVID-19 is among that. If it's happening in my world, I get to trust that nothing can come between me and my good, and that my genie, my lamp, is not any magic source, because the genie is actually inside me. Nepo goes on to say the word genie comes from the word genius. In its original form, genius was not reserved for the brilliance of a few, because we think of genius like Einstein and people like that. He says that's not the way it was when it started. It first meant attendant spirit. And everyone has a genie, an attendant spirit. Now we've used the words maybe inner self, inner guide, the center point of our being, the Atman. Every religion out there has a word for that genie within. And yet the story of Aladdin's lamp is so clear that by taking care of our authentic selves, by taking care that our light does shine, that's when the genie is unleashed. Nothing else can bring that out. We can contrive in all kinds of ways, but the inner guide within us, that genie within us, is always there, always giving us the next step so that we shine, And he ends by saying, often this journey begins in the dark cave of our trouble. When we finally trust the small lamp we carry will transform us and show us the way out. Isn't it interesting that in that story, you have to get the lamp from the cave. You have to go into the darkness to get the lamp. And so in the midst of the darkness that we are experiencing right now, and some of us are experiencing it in waves. I'll have days when I'm fine, and then days I'm like, what the heck is going on? And when I'm in that space of darkness and I don't even know if I can shine, much less be a light, that's when I get to go into my own darkness. When I get to go and do my own inner work and know that in the darkness of the cave, I will find the lamp and the genie within. That's the way out is the way in. And so I get to trust that despite whatever is happening in my world, that the genie within, the light that I am, will be the lamp unto my feet. That's a big trust. That's a big leap sometimes for us to go from the darkness of fear and doubt to a place of deep trust and knowingness that God is in this, despite the fears that are coming up for me. Eric Butterworth, the legendary Unity minister, said this: the genius does not differ from others in their access to the light within, only in their confident acceptance of its natural outstream. He's saying the same thing. We all have the genie within. We all have that light within. The only difference is I might be a little bit more confident in how I share my light than someone else, or vice versa. So you and I get to go into the dark cave to know the truth of ourselves, that light is always there, and that I am becoming a greater and greater light because of the darkness. That's helping me unleash. And then the certainty, the knowingness. It's easy to know I'm a light when everything's going fine. Anybody can do that. But when I'm in the midst of doubt and confusion, and I can still stand strong and go, I'm a light. I may not be able to see clearly right now, but I've been to the mountaintop and I know the truth. And I'm holding that truth close to me right now so that I don't sway off the path. That light will always be within me. And it's up to me to shine that light, even in the midst of my doubt and fear. That's the real work. And sometimes being a light, to wrap this up, means you just keep showing up. You know, I don't claim to have any special wisdom or knowledge. I just keep showing up. I just keep asking Spirit to show me, how can I be available for the next lesson? What gift is there for me to understand what I'm experiencing here as a spiritual being? There's a wonderful race called the Iditarod race. They just had it in Alaska. They have it every March. And so they had it this year, and they race over 1,000 miles. They race from Juneau to Nome, Alaska. And so mushers will get on their sleds and have their team of dogs pull them 1,000 miles. And it's a brutal race in the midst of darkness and ice and cold, and got to take care of the dogs, and there's all kinds of things that they have to worry about. But the thing that I want to bring out today is this. There's a very special award for the person who crosses the finish line first. The winner, that's a big deal. But there's another special award that they give. And the award that they give for the person who comes in last is called the Red Lantern Award. The Red Lantern Award is given to the person who persevered, who kept going, even though he or she knew that there was no way they were going to win, but they kept going. This year in 2020, Casey Muringer was the winner of the Red Lantern Award. Here she is receiving that she came, it was like a blizzard by the time she got to the finish line. It was terrible racing conditions, and she managed to get her and her team across that finish line despite. And so I love that analogy. The red lantern, the lamp, is given to her for simply knowing the truth that she could persevere and get to the other side of this. That's a fabulous analogy. And actually, when we are in the place where we know, well, I can't win this, there's so many other people that have gone on and done a much better job than me, just the fact that we show up and shine our light and say, I'm going to do the best I can. That's all that matters. I'm not in a race against anyone else. I'm only here to do my best and keep showing up. That's being a light. That's being really confident that no matter what is going on around us, we're going to do our best and shine as brightly as we possibly can. So how will you show up as a light this week? I want to throw that invitation out to you. You are the light of the world. You are such a necessary part of this world, even when it appears that you're not. Even when it appears that darkness is swallowing you whole. And we've all been there, right? But you have what it takes to make it through whatever. You have what it takes to not just get the Red Lantern Award. You have what it takes to show up and shine so brightly. And the world desperately needs your light. So go out and shine this week and know the truth of who you are, that all is unfolding exactly as it can to help you grow your light. Let's take that into prayer. Let's take a deep breath. We processed a lot this morning. Father, Mother God, we're just so grateful for the opportunity to show up as a light, to know the truth that our light can never be dimmed, can never be put under a bushel or a basket, that it is always on. And it's our job to be a light in this world. Even when people tell us it's not. Even when someone challenges us with just who do you think you are? It doesn't matter. I'm not here for them. I'm here for myself, to be that light of God in this world, to be the mouthpiece of kindness and compassion, to be the hands and feet of generosity and willingness to do the work, to serve others, and to let them know that their light is just as important as anyone's. And so I know that as we've taken these ideas in this morning, that there's a gelling that is happening, a quickening of our awareness and our consciousness. That is meaning that we are different right now in this holy instant than we were 30 minutes ago. We are now embodying these ideas to the very best of our ability. And so I know this week we go forth with confidence. We go forth with an idea that the intention of being a light is always in the forefront. We don't forget, we don't set it aside, we don't think about, oh yeah, I remember I'm supposed to be a light. It's right there in front of us. And the constant reminder that light is always who we are. And so I simply let go of these ideas, and I know that as they have been transmitted around the world through the wonders of technology, anyone who is watching this video, anyone who is watching this live stream, anyone who is hearing the sound of my words is knowing the truth of who they are right now. And there is no turning back. Nothing can withhold us from shining brightly. And so I simply let go, knowing that the truth is here, the truth is now, and the genie within has now come forth in full expression of love and compassion and kindness. And nothing can put that genie back in the bottle again. We are the light of the world. And so we simply let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. So if you have gotten some sustenance, some food this morning, some spiritual food this morning, I hope that you have. I hope that you have been stirred to a new level of awareness within you. And if you, like me, know that this is a beacon on the hill, this church sits on a hill proudly, knowing that we serve a greater community, not only here in Charlotte, but throughout the world. So I invite you to support us. There is if you just go to your phone and look up unityofcharlotte.org, you'll find a Donate Now button, and you can give a gift of your choice so that you too are supporting us being a light here in this world. It's so important for us to continue the good works that we are doing here, knowing that you are the community behind that. You can also mail a check to us. I think we've even got an address here for you. Here it is, Unity of Charlotte, 401 East Arrowwood Road, Charlotte, North Carolina. If you don't have something to write that down this quickly, you can always find it on our website, unityofcharlotte.org. So however you support us, even if it's just through a prayer, just a thank you is uttered by you. We're always grateful for whatever gifts you give to keep our work going on here. You can also go to unityofcharlotte.org, and there's a Donate Now button there as well. So I'll invite you to hold in your mind whatever you're planning to share with us, and let's say our offering blessing together. Joyously, I give this gift, knowing the divine presence blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. All right. We thank you so much for your continued support. We are very blessed by the wonderful community that even if they're not here present in seats, you continue to bless us with your contributions and your generosity. We're very grateful for that. All right. So we're going to close with our wonderful prayer protection. And I invite you, if you are in the midst of your week and you're feeling that darkness, guess what the first line is? The light of God. The light of God. Remind yourself you're the light of God. So let's say this together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you right back here next Sunday or on the next YouTube video. Thank you for being with us. Goodbye.